one day, a person was walking on the beach, and they saw in the distance someone doing this. Reaching down, flinging it out. Reaching down, flinging it out. What is that person doing over there? So they were curious, and they went closer, and they noticed that there were starfish all over the beach. I said, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm throwing the starfish back in the water." "Well, you can't do all of them." "Well, no, but it matters to that one." So this season for nonviolence, we've been on a journey. We've been through many different attributes and skills that we can hone to increase our expression and our experience of peace. And there won't be a test, but I've spoken on deepening our faith and finding the holy everywhere, and non-resistance, and simplicity, and mindfulness, and of course remembering that we belong to one another. And all of these influence and support each other. But there's something very important that many spiritual seekers forget or don't do so well. Or people in general, really. Because we know these things, but there's one part missing. Unity's fifth basic principle, which some say should be the first principle, is knowing these truths is not enough. One must put this knowledge into action. So we may know that finding a more peaceful, mindful way to live our life is a good idea, but we have to do it. We might know that we could find the holy in every place and everyone, but we have to do it. Because otherwise, it's like buying all the food for this great party you're going to have, but not inviting anybody and not preparing it. Until it just gets all funky in your fridge. So that's kind of, but have we ever done that with like great knowledge that we've had? Let it get funky in the fridge. So today's about taking action. And I'm not talking about frantic running around, following every trend and cause, because that is just wasted energy. But taking mindful steps forward. And we do this, we use many of the tools in our spiritual toolbox. We must keep up and build our meditation and our mindfulness practice, because that helps us sort out the noise and the chaos. Let that settle to know what our true calling is, what's really ours to do. We don't argue with what is. What is. And when we do that, then we can actually find much more effective ways to resolve what is, if that's not what we'd like to have what is, and if we pretend that that wasn't true, right? We don't have a firm foundation to make a change if we can't pretend, if we're pretending it's not there. When we recognize the holy in each place and each person, we can practice more empathy, and that spurs us into action when we see there's something that we would like for it to be different. I once heard Andrew Harvey, who's a renowned spiritual activist, speak. And he said lots of really great things, but the thing that stuck with me and continues to stick with me was to find the thing that breaks your heart. So much so that you don't even want to talk about it. It's so tender because it touches you so much. And then find some other people who have that same thing that is their thing that they are passionate about. And then together, in your little group, you do something about it. You focus your energies on the one or two or three things that really touch you deeply, instead of doing a lot of sort of, oh, well, that seems like a good idea. This way you can utilize your spiritual wisdom and discover what your next actions are going to be. It's not about signing petitions, though you can do that. That could be helpful. And it's definitely not about grumbling to your friends, because that is not the effective way to get anything done. But to take your thing that means so much to you and take that into prayer and then take it into the world. I think we have a lot of people who go one way, they're like, well, I'm just going to pray about it, and don't take any action. And then we have a lot of people who go and do a lot of action-y stuff, but there's not a lot of wisdom behind it. I think I think both is actually most effective. You know, a friend of mine is extremely passionate about animal rescue. She will drive as far as required to pick up an animal in trouble and take it somewhere safe. She'll take it to the animal rescue run by her mom, another animal rescue. She'll foster it in her own home. She'll take it to a foster home, wherever it needs to go. She'll make that happen in the midst of all of her other things that she has going on in her life. Because, and Bill just shook his head like, yeah, back there. Because that's her thing. That's her passion. That is so important to her. And because it's sometimes heartbreaking work, but because it's her passion, she doesn't lose her passion for it because it's her thing. Now, it's, you know, even though she's passionate about this, and other people are passionate about this, and they work together to make a difference, and they do make a big difference, they're not going to solve all the problems related to this particular issue. Or even the ones just in their area, probably. And I'm sure they'd be happy if they could. But they're doing what they can. And letting that be okay, that's enough. Too often, the big idea gets squashed because it can't solve all the problems. Well, what if it could solve 5 of the 15 problems? Well, isn't that a good place to start? So the trick of being an effective action taker, because that sounds like a good thing to do, you want to be an effective action taker, is to integrate both our cognitive processing and our hearts. So being able to use our wisdom, being able to go deeper into our wisdom, and to use our passion. And I think it can be discouraging sometimes when we learn about all the injustice of the world. There's so much going on, and you just have to turn on the news or read the newspaper, because, you know, I told you before, they sell papers and stuff because they have bad news and people want to look at it. You can make a different choice. There's plenty of good stuff going on out there too. You just have to look a little harder for it. So there's all this stuff going on, and sometimes you can just be like, oh, it's too much. It's too much. I can't possibly fix it all. But that's not the point. Of course you can't fix it all. Nobody can fix it all. But you can do something. And that something you can do well. A couple years ago, a group of computer coders in Boston created an app that allowed residents to adopt a fire hydrant. You see, whenever it snowed, city workers have to go out and clear around all the fire hydrants so that they can be prepared in case of an emergency. But that takes a lot of person power, right? And those city workers could, of course, be doing more specific things to their tasks than clearing out around fire hydrants, which is something any of us could do. And so they created this app that made it easy for residents to say, okay, this fire hydrant, I've got it, and then they would, post on there when it was cleared off and everything. And I think the city workers still had to come and check on it, but they could just drive by and check on it, right? Which was much more efficient and fast. And it's a little thing, but it makes a big difference, because I'd rather the city workers be out there like clearing the roads than clearing out around the fire hydrants. That's my preference. And this became not something they were just doing there, but cities all over the place took up this. Even Anchorage, I found on the internet when I searched for it, the Anchorage even did this project. And it's not a big thing, but it is a thing. And together it makes a difference. And it's not just about the actual result of, okay, well, I cleaned off around the fire hydrant near my house, but it's about saying that it matters, that I want to be a part of something. It's just that step forward, and be willing to take action. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, wrote in Dynamics for Living, "You must not only practice an idea, you must also give it form by infusing into it the substance of your living faith." Must not only practice an idea, you must give it in form by infusing into it the substance of your living faith. So, not just thinking about something, you have to give it life. You put your faith, your belief, your action into the thing. So, what is your starfish? What is something, starfish is not something so big, that's just like, what can I do today that makes a difference? I could make a difference today. Yes, there's the easy things like smiling at the people you read at the grocery store and holding doors and doing all those things. Maybe a little bit, you could take that to the next level to really bring something bright to someone's day. What is your fire hydrant? The thing that you see could contribute to the well-being of your community. Like donating to the Girl Scouts. I just go and hand them money because I don't need the cookies. But I think the Girl Scouts are great, and so I just hand them money, and then I walk off before they have a chance to figure out what's going on. It's kind of my thing. But we're collecting items for Awake right now. We've got our food bank. Those are the things that continue to say we want to make our community better. And what is your animal rescue? What is the thing or things that are really fire you up, that almost break your heart when you think about it, that you really could say, what could I do about this? And not just pray about it, though that's the first step, but what's an action I can take about that? Action, ignited from the core of your wisdom, is what moves our society forward. Action ignited from wisdom was what started Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi and Mother Teresa to do what they did. But we have to remember, we're not all going to be an MLK or a Gandhi or a Mother Teresa or a Pope or whatever. None of us are definitely going to be the Pope. But when they started, they weren't famous. They were just a person with a passion who stood up and did something. And then other people said, yes, I agree, and I'm going to stand with you. And do that too. That's how it got somewhere, right? If nobody had stood next to them, we wouldn't know who they were. So they stood up and they did their thing. And while these people are great examples of that transformation, that doesn't mean that the small actions we're doing in our communities at this level aren't important too. They are, because they're changing our world. We don't have to become famous, because you know what happens when you get famous? Sometimes you get assassinated. You can skip that part and just do great stuff right here in your own backyard. And that's what Andrew Harvey said. He said, you don't have to go and try to do everything. Just make a difference in your own backyard and your own community. And that makes a difference. So don't get discouraged by trying to fix the problems of the world. Why don't you fix the problems in your neighborhood? What's the thing that fires you up? Or be like our friend Sarah and drive, 2 hours out of your way to go rescue the dogs that need to be rescued, because that's your passion, whatever that is. And when we do this, this is part of how we create a more healthy, harmonious, and caring world. Just one action at a time.